Hello and welcome to another episode of ZED Talks, Leaguecast Fixes Champions. This week we'll be talking about, I don't have the character list, it is Olaf, Orianna, Ornn, Pantheon, Poppy, Pyke, Qiyana, Quinn. Joining me this week is Colton Blue Basket Sweat.
I'm here this time.
Yo-yo. And Nick the King Cooper.
Oh, this time Yo-Yo.
Cool. Do you guys want to hop right into it with
Yeah, let's
Olaf?
do it. Let's do it.
How do we fix Olaf? Is Olaf broken? Does he need much fixing?
I think he's, I don't know, it's interesting because he's a low mobility character, which is typically not good in the jungle because, I mean, we've seen this for like literally since season 5 is like low mobility junglers are bad in professional play because they can't go over dragon walls, they can't like clear jungle as fast, but he does have the advantage of having an extremely fast clear and having like being able to block CC, which allows him just to like run through people, which kind of negates the low mobility. But I don't know if that makes
the
him
mobility
good.
In the early game that he's lacking in terms of getting over walls. He has the unique ability to access backline because you can stop a Zac jump and you can stop like a Lee Sin Q. You can't stop Olaf. I think he's pretty good. I think there are definitely a couple things about him that I would want to see adjusted.
Yeah.
I think for one, the idea of being better when low is interesting, but I personally hate the idea of like the optimal clear for Olaf is to like tank 2 tower hits so you're lower health and more attack speed. Like I don't like that, and what I'd rather see is them move those stats to be like, you know, maybe when you're lower you have more tenacity or more armor or something like that, where hey, it's hard to kill Olaf, but him doing more damage when low I'm not a huge fan of personally.
Definitely not great. It's not a great way of doing it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know, but it makes sense within his lore, right? He's a like a berserker who thrives like at low health.
But I don't know. I think other steroids. I just don't think I don't like that he gets healing as he gets lower is my main thing. I feel like that's always been like a weird type of mechanic. Like same with like the Warwick healing as he gets lower sort of thing. I think that's like really strange and very hard to gauge for a lot of players, I think.
No, for sure. I agree. So do we make it a flat like healing increase on his?
I mean, I would even like make it like it's an AD like increase or like a AD attack speed crit whatever.
Yeah,
like all these things rather than healing.
I could also see it like proccing on champions is another thing that I'm more okay with, because like I'm totally fine with the idea of like, okay, you 1v1 me and I get low and I get stronger, but what I hate is like the level 3 Olaf soloing dragon because he's got 1.6 attack speed and like 45% lifesteal at level 3. That's the part about it that I don't like. So I could see it. Yeah, like I would rather see it as more of like an attack damage steroid or an attack speed steroid, and then like winning combat with champions, maybe it's amplified or reduced effectiveness against monsters, whichever way you want to put the burden on that.
Yeah.
Do we like his E, just the hit you for some true damage?
It's all right. Like I don't think it's ever been bad because it still has the health cost associated with it, right? Like,
yeah, I think it's like pretty fair actually. Yeah,
I guess you could like modernize it and change it into something like different, or make it you once again could make it like scale up like the lower HP he is sort of thing, like, and do make him like this like low HP thing. I just think the healing when he's low HP is like the toxic part personally.
Yeah, the bonus healing when he's low. Other than that, I mean, ultimate I think is pretty okay. I think you definitely could modernize some of like the stats that you gain and maybe make it more of a flat value as opposed to like really fast for a short bit of time and then it like caps off. But I think it's pretty okay as is.
Yeah, I like the way it functions for the most part. I also don't think you can change it like thematically. I feel like it just fits with this character at this point. I would love to see a change to his Q though. What I was thinking, and this might just be dumb, increase the number of axes to 2. He holds 2 axes. What if he can throw 2? So it's like a 2 charge system. And each time, like, you still pick it up and it refunds like 80%, but it refunds 80% of like one of the charges sort of thing, or like 80% of like the 2 charges to, you know what I mean? They won't ever like give you more than 1 axe back, but like you can throw 2 axes to do like, I don't know, like 60% of what they currently do. have a little bit less slow, but maybe the slow stack and stuff. I would love being able to throw both axes.
Yeah,
I think that'd be like, pretty cool.
I think that's really, really. I think that'd be really cool, and like I think it would work better because like he already has 2 axes.
Yeah.
And so yeah, if he could like throw one of them, and then if it was on a 2 charge system, and then like, hey, if you hit a second axe within like 2 seconds of your first axe, it continues the slow or increases the slow or something like that. Where 1 axe alone is a little bit less effective, but once you start like chaining them together, and I think it should be gated behind a cooldown. You still can't have like constant nonstop axes, because that's really frustrating to play against. But I think that would be really interesting.
Yeah, I don't think we have a single character that has a like pickup mechanic like Olaf with multiple charges. Like I feel like that's very, I guess, like, new.
I mean, Draven.
Yeah, but I think it's different. I was thinking like Megan RQ, for example. There's one of them, like stuff like that.
It's very different with Draven, but like that is, I think, the only one that's close.
Yeah, that's fair.
But you still have to manage like where both of them are landing and catch them both to optimize your damage. But it does feel really shitty, like barely missing an axe, and then like that's your whole gank now is because you missed the axe.
Yeah.
And having like a second chance would be nice, and then you have the option of like, okay, do I go pick up my first axe now that they're slowed, or do I just continue closing and I'm gonna try and kill them with 1 axe?
Yeah.
And I think if you really wanted to, you could base more of his kit around that idea where it's like the E does slightly more damage if you have both of your axes. Or something like that. Or like if you E somebody who's been, who has like 2 slow stacks on them, it does bonus damage or something. I think there's interesting ways that you could play around that. Or even like, again, you could make like the ult interact with it where it's like you run quickly towards enemy champions or towards your axes or something like that, where like then it maybe gives him a chance to escape or just run people down better. I mean, there's a lot of interesting things you can do once you add extra mechanics. But I think Olaf's in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, that's what I was going to kind of circle around back to. Is like, I also don't think he's a champion that necessarily needs changes, I suppose. Like that, I think I agree that the healing is kind of problematic. But he's still being picked like pretty often, which I think lends it to sort of his strength.
Yeah, and especially with like the current run fast, get there.
Yeah,
he does that very well.
Yeah.
So what do we have next after Olaf? It's Orianna?
Orianna is the next one.
Ooh, I know this character.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's really much of anything you need to do with Orianna.
I think literally the only thing you could possibly change, and I'm not even going to say it's an improvement, like I think her passive could be looked at. But I think it really lends itself to teaching you how to, like as a newer player, teaching you how to use every single aspect of a champion's kit, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to auto attack, you have to weave your auto attacks in, or you're not going to do your optimal damage on Ari, which I think, or on Orianna, sorry, which I think is like pretty important to learn.
Yeah, I think the only thing I might want to see with that, if they were to take a look at it, is I would honestly really enjoy them if they maybe lowered the base damage a little bit or the scaling a little bit, and they added a thing where it's like, if you've stacked like 3 stacks on a target, your spells do a little bit more damage to them.
That's what I was thinking as well. Like
with the idea of like, you're winding up damage, but it's still about your spells.
Yeah.
Right. So like 1 stack is like plus 1% damage, 2 stacks is plus 2%, like 3 stacks is maybe like plus 4% damage.
I mean, you could even do it more than that and make it sort of a consuming thing, where I don't know, like every auto attack 10% more damage, stacking up to 20. The next spell consumes it and deals 20% more damage. Obviously she wouldn't have nearly close to the to the base damage that she has now with her auto attacks, but I think that would be something.
The other only thing I could see is maybe giving her some kind of like mana reset or like refund. I don't think any of her abilities really lend themselves well to it, but I feel like in the early game, you can definitely go really, really quick, which doesn't feel great, but I think that's more of just a numbers adjustment. And I don't think it's actually like bad.
I was gonna say she is like one of the easiest champions to farm well with, so I don't know if that's like like a great idea. I guess. Let's get crazy with it. Let's give her the Diana treatment. If she hits a 5-man ult, it does extra damage. How about that?
Yeah.
If you get hit by a 5-man ult, you're dead. Like,
I think that like what you could do is say, you know, the number of characters that you hit with the R, all of those characters get that many like passive stacks.
ooh, that'd be good.
Right? So like if you hit a 3-man ult or like a 4-man ult, like if you want to cap the passive at 3, I think that's fine. But it's like, okay, you hit a 3-man ult, all of them get 3 stacks now, so your W does, you know, 30% more damage when you follow it up.
Mm-hmm. That'd be
Or
pretty
something
cool.
like that. And I also think if you wanted to, you could do other things on like, hey, consuming these stacks gives you like a little itty bit about move speed or something else. I don't think you probably have to. The only other thing I could see if they really wanted to build more of like this, like ticking, ramping up mage kind of thing, you could maybe put some extra scaling on her passive or something where it's like, and I think that would just be like with the damage amplification that probably goes up with level. So maybe it starts at like 369%, and then by level 18, maybe it's like 10, 20, 30 or something.
Mm-hmm. But she's a really well-designed character. I think there's a reason she has been, if not meta, just outside of the meta for a very long time.
I think she's one of like the pillars of good character design that exist in the game.
For sure.
Yeah, this is the worst she's ever been in the meta, and I still think she's like playable. So
Yeah.
What do we got next?
She's still saying pick into. I think she's getting picked into Lucian, if I'm not mistaken. As just
it's just like she's not.
We'll salvage the lane.
You're just not picking her in solo queue.
I saw a play with like Niski on her today.
Yeah.
She's not bad by any means. Cool.
But competitive teams are also picking Ahri at the moment, so let's not give a lot of.
Yeah, I think Ahri like makes sense though. I guess with like a GLP like build on Ahri right now, like she
with
does
Everfrost,
provide a lot of, sorry,
that's true.
Everfrost.
That's true.
It's cool. Anyways, the next character we have is Ornn, the fucking Thunder guy.
Ornn's another one that I think is pretty good as is.
So I think Ornn's interesting because I think it's once again the worst he's been in a while. But I think he's like he's underplayed. I feel like he was so good that him getting those nerfs made him played way less than he should be. I still think he's like good. I think he's just underplayed.
Like taking him from like, even though I don't think the numbers were ever this high, but like taking him from like a 56% win rate character to a 53% win rate character, like people stop playing him because typically when you drop 3%, it's because you're dropping from 51 to 48 and then your character's bad. But like he's still real good. Okay, so what changes can we make to Ornn?
So I'm currently very happy with how his passive works. In general, I don't like characters getting armor, magic resist, and health,
I
like
agree.
just randomly. That being said, I think it's fine on him. Like I don't think it's awful. That being said, it might be not awful right now because he doesn't feel like overbearing and it doesn't feel like just like another thing on top of his like OP kit or whatever. So that's something to consider, I guess, looking at is that he gets 10% bonus armor, magic resistant health, and then that increases by 4% more for every item he builds. And the games are also shorter, right? So it's not like he's building all 5 mythic items or whatever, or like upgrading all 5 mythic items and getting the full, I guess that would be what, 20% or whatever. He's only getting, I guess, like usually like 12% extra by the end of the game.
He gets that at level 16, all the upgraded items, right?
18. It's like starts at 13 for himself now, and he only gets the 1 for himself, and then he gets the ally ones at 14, 15, 16, 17. Oh, sorry, not 18. So it's done at 17.
Okay, cool. Because at level 18, he should be a mobile shop.
True.
At level 18, your allies should be able to buy items from
I
you.
actually don't think that's awful, Nick.
I think that'd be so
I think it's
funny.
kind of funny, man.
I think it's kind of cheesy and funny, but it's also such a small change that it's like, okay, Ornn was already the like ultra late game. Let me add 10,000 gold worth of efficiency to you. Like,
people
fuck
also
you guys. You went
buying...
late against Ornn. I'm buying an extra control ward at the Baron. Well, no, you can't buy consumables.
Yeah, you can't. But like, I don't think that's like actually that OP though, Nick, because like no one's really like like other than finishing items like at the very end of the game, Ornn's not going to be 18 with his allies not being full build for that long. Like I actually don't think that's OP. Honestly, that's kind of goofy and like kind of funny.
It's goofy and funny, but
they put an order request and you build shit.
I guess okay. So I guess as long as you have to manually like build it, I would be fine with it.
Yeah, it's like the 3 seconds or whatever.
Yeah, I just don't want like your allies walking up to you, buying items, and then walking away. Like I don't think they should be able to open up the shop icon and walk away with an item instantly, I guess.
No, they put in like a buy request and you build it and it goes to them.
Okay, I would be fine with that. Because then you're spending a lot of time to...
I also don't think it's OP either.
I don't think it's
like
OP either.
The only strength comes from the fact that you don't have to back for like big objectives and shit like that, right? Yeah. Because and you can't buy consumables. And so,
you can finish your item, but you can't buy elixirs.
Yeah, I think that's actually like a really fun thing that doesn't add too much power to his kit. That's fucking funny.
That'd be so cool. Aside from that, I don't think it needs it, but I feel like they maybe should let his E dash bounce the ulti. Because I've seen so many players fuck it up, and I fucked it up for the first like 3 times I played Ornn, where I'm like, oh, I dash into the horn.
But I don't see what my only thing is I don't think that adds anything to the character, because what's the difference between using your E dash and using your alt dash, right?
Yeah, it would just help players who are bad at Ornn.
My only
and are doing the E anyway, and not only does it waste their E, but it also wastes their R.
What do we think about just adjusting his stun ratios and then not making it so he can't apply, his brittle doesn't work on his own abilities, sort of thing?
Oh, interesting.
I just don't know if he like, maybe it doesn't matter if like you change it that way. I was thinking like they could all be slightly shorter, but like they're only for allies, but I don't know if that actually does anything. It really just doesn't seem like it's that important. Either way, I don't think you can change his Q, W, or E. They all just function together as like a combo.
They're really cohesive, yeah.
And then his ultimate, I guess you could make it slow less on the incoming, but other than that, I don't think you can change much about the character. Like,
but I don't even think he's over like OP in that regard. I think he's fine.
I guess the only thing that I guess like is
projectile.
I'm trying to think back when he was OP and like think what was annoying in that, because it's very easy to go, oh, the character's weak. We don't need to change anything.
Damage is the part.
Yeah, his damage was problematic, which I don't think it is anymore. It's still very strong.
And I think that's outside the scope of like this show.
Yeah.
If you perfect combos, you can still like one hit you though.
Yeah, it's 6 seconds of CC if he perfect combos. The perfect combo is very difficult, but the easy combo is 4 seconds of CC, so it's not like that different, I guess. I also don't think that's like that awful though, because I think lots of characters can stun lock and stuff like that. That being said, I do think that there is room to remove his CC immunity from his W. I don't know if it's needed, but I feel like that was something that was always a point of contention for him.
Well, so now it's only like
0.75 seconds.
It's only for like the very beginning of it, right?
Yeah, it's 0.75. It's like very short, but it also feels like it's not needed. It's only in there because it was added at one point and then taken out, and then they're like, fuck, we'll throw it back in because people are mad.
I think it's fine.
I think it's fine, or at the very least, they could make it like you're maybe like can't be immobilized or something like that, or you have like bonus tenacity during. I don't know.
Bonus tenacity would also be a fine way.
I can see him adjusting it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, once again, I don't have necessarily problems with it. I just think that was a point of contention when he was OP, and that's the only other area I can see like changing, I guess.
That's fair. I would be fine with changing it to bonus tenacity.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Maybe a flat bonus tenacity rather than a percentage based.
Yeah. So that's I guess what we're doing with Ornn. We're going to turn him into a mobile shop at level 18, and we're going to make it so he has bonus tenacity instead of CC.
And your ram for your ultimate turns into just the shopkeeper in his whole cart.
Yeah. And he drives by and you can buy items really quick if you're quick at doing it.
Yeah. If you can.
It's so stupid. Anyways, the next character is Pantheon, the character who is not supposed to be a support anymore, but he's played in 4 roles. So.
Oh god.
Pantheon needs to fix, man. Pantheon's fucked.
So like obviously the only truly problematic spell he has is his E. Right.
The reflect,
the phalanx
shielding. Yeah.
I think that's the reason he's problematic, but I think it goes more to like. I think you gotta scrap most of Pantheon. I think the only thing you keep is that he's a spear guy and his ultimate jumps him down from the sky.
Yeah, I like the charge spear. I think it's much better than the.
So basically, you're saying you got to get rid of his W.
No,
And
I
his
want to get rid of his
W.
Q, his W, and his E.
Oh, I like his Q.
And
I like his Q so
yeah,
much.
I feel like his Q is really well designed.
It's much better. Remember the point and click Q? Remember the good
Yeah,
old Pantheon?
no, it's much better. It's much better now. I guess you can probably keep it, but I don't know, man. I think his W and his E are kind of dumb.
Yeah, I mean, yes. Yeah. I don't think we would agree or disagree with you on that.
Okay. I also think his ultimate functions really oddly, and I would honestly prefer to see it go back to just like the land on a point.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's fine. I don't know.
I think it's fine, and like I don't have any issue using it. I just hate, again, watching so many Pantheons use it wrong and like end up 300 units away from what they were aiming at, and like it's I don't know.
I suppose.
I don't know.
They should also remove AP ratios from his kit, please God. I don't like seeing people build AP on him because both of his AP ratios are 1.0 ratios, which gives them enough power to think that they should build AP on him.
Yeah.
But I honestly don't think he's that problematic. I think his like Aegis Assault needs to be completely fucking reworked. Or if you don't want to completely remove that ability, you need to make it a tiny fucking cone at the front and make it not wrap around to like 85% of his body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Honestly, what I would rather see is that be part of his ultimate.
Ooh.
Where like he dives in from the fucking heavens and he's got like a second of invulnerability in front of him.
That's fair.
Right, where it's like, okay, this is your ultimate, cool, you get to have that ignore all damage, but you can't cast it super quick, like as a reaction to an incoming tower hit or like Jinx ult or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I think then you can make it longer, and you could even if you like, I like the idea of it just being in front of him. I think they need to fix that so it's actually just in front of him.
Yeah, for sure.
But like then you could have it be like 2 seconds, and if it's only in front of him and it's only on his ultimate, that's not really broken because you get to see him coming, and like you've got options at that point, as opposed to it's like, cool, well I can't R the Pantheon because he'll just E, but he's never going to be low enough to die otherwise, so he just gets to live.
So what are you changing it to? I guess
The E.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking, what are Spartans known for? They're known for kicking people into wells. So what if we just make his E a big kick? He like chooses somebody, just kicks them down, and they're on the ground. They're like sad.
Okay.
Perfect.
I do like this idea of like,
sad.
yeah, like I don't know if it's targeted or not. I think he probably only can kick one person at a time. That would make sense to me. So it's like a targeted kick move, and it like kicks them and it like knocks them down. I don't think it should ground them, even though it sounds like it should ground them. I think it should just like be like a heavy slow use, kick them down.
Honestly, it sounds like it should be like Vayne Condemn basically.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's good for the game.
What I was thinking more is, because I kind of want to get rid of the W, but I like the idea of like dash and shield bash. I guess personally I would rather have it be more of a skill shot and into like heavy slow than a stun, where it's like very similar to like Sejuani Q, where he just like dashes forward, shield in front of him, and like if he hits a champion, maybe they're knocked back into a slow, or it even could be a stun. But again, point and click hard CC is not something I love. I mean, obviously there's still going to be other characters that have it, and I don't think all of it needs to be removed, but I think having a dash that you can just aim then opens up a lot of strength in that he could dash, over a wall, or he could use that to escape. And that gives him a lot of extra strength and utility outside of just his ability to go in and 100 to 0 you. So I guess then that leaves, like, he still needs an E.
What if he digs a hole with his E?
Yeah. He bakes a loaf of bread because he's a baker.
I'm reading a bunch of Spartan facts to try to get me into the mood, and I'm reading boys were encouraged to steal food. If they were caught, they were punished for not for stealing, but for getting caught. So maybe he steals with his E.
That sounds healthy.
I mean,
What about, okay, this one says Spartan men are required to stay fit and ready to fight until the age of 60. So what if like he just eats a balanced breakfast when he uses E?
Ooh, okay.
Well, I think part of it is also that like the Spartan weapon set was the spear and a sword, and currently he's just a spear guy.
Well, he has his like shield is his. Oh, you mean like the rework, getting rid of his W?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. So like, so he's still like the Spartan kit, right? Is the spear, the big old shield, and the sword, and he doesn't use a sword at all now, as far as like can think. So I think that could maybe you could maybe move or like give him like his auto attacks are with like a sword maybe, and it's like an auto attack reset, or it's like a slowing, like a kind of similar to like a Darius W, where it's like a slowing, like crippling blow or something like that. I don't know. It's weird because it's really tough, because if you keep the Q as it is, that like is a lot of identity for the character, and it's hard to put other things in there.
Yeah, I like keeping the Q though. I think it's fine to keep like, honestly, like I like we could go with what you're going with, but you also could just keep the Q, the stun, change the ultimate to have his like shield thingy in with it, and then just give him like another utility type thing, whether it is like a kick, or if it is like just like a hefty slow with a spear like charge sort of thing, or something like that. I think it's fine. Just something basic. He doesn't need like a lot of power in that last ability if we're giving him power other places.
Honestly, it could be just like a teammate buff thing where he just like shouts real big.
Yeah.
Dude, like does the shield the spear bash on his shield?
Yeah, and he shoots a minion.
Yeah, and he shoots a minion, obviously. He's got to raise morale.
Yeah. I think that's fine, though. Do you want to move on to Poppy, who's next?
Let's do it.
Perfect character. Nothing wrong with her. Move on.
I like Poppy a lot, personally.
I actually don't disagree. I think she's
good.
Her rework is really well designed.
I think the buckler thing could be like a little bit different, I guess. Just like as someone who plays like a lot of Poppy, I think the interaction of I mean, it's almost never worth stepping on. You usually just let her get it, sort of thing, unless you're like trading hard into her. But maybe that's fine being that way. It's not like it's like a super important part of her kit anyways. But I like her passive. I like her Q. I think her W is one of the coolest designed abilities in the game.
Absolutely.
Her E is average, but it sets up all of her shit, and that's kind of makes her who she is. And then her ultimate, I think her ultimate should be able to be snap casted, like, and they should be targetable, but maybe it should be like a shorter duration for the knockup.
If I'm not mistaken, I think they may have changed it to be that way.
Oh, really? I haven't played her in like a while. Because I know for a while it was like you couldn't snapcast it, because like you being able to snapcast it, knock them up for 0.75 seconds, and then target them while they're up in the air, made it so you could just combo alt into E2 easily. But if they changed it, then that makes sense as well. They might have lowered the duration of it or something. I haven't played her in like a year. But.
Yeah, I would say I personally would maybe want the knockback distance cap to be lowered just a little bit. Because I think like the idea of ulting people away from an objective or a fight is really cool, but it's also a little like non-interactive, where you're just like, oh, okay, Poppy yeeted me out, I guess I'll be back in the team fight in 20 seconds.
Yeah, Dodge. You're right, Nick. They updated it honestly like 2 years ago, where you like can knock them up and target them, but they lowered the duration of it.
Only the snapcast, right?
Yeah. Because like before it was like full 1 second duration. They lowered it though, which is good.
Because I think now you can QRQ, like QR, and then the explosion of Q guarantees that it hits. Like, and you don't have to rely on the like the wall stun.
E-stun.
Yeah,
that's cool. I think that's like fine.
She's pretty solid, yeah.
Like that alone, like makes I just think she's like honestly a really, really well developed character.
Absolutely.
All they really need to do is make a Thor Poppy skin.
All they need to really do is remove the tooth from all of her fucking skins.
Yeah.
True.
Drop the snackle tooth.
Ugly ass fucking weeb shit.
True.
Do we not want to like go any further on Poppy? I think Poppy's fine personally.
Yeah,
if you want to just
I think
stop there.
Poppy's
fine
as well. Yeah.
Cool. Next is Pyke. I like Pyke a lot, so.
I like Pyke a lot too. I've come around that I think his ultimate is actually okay. But I think the gold sharing aspect of it would be the only thing that you could reliably like change, I think.
Yeah, I think it'd be fine if like he didn't share any gold, but he got like more for himself and stuff, and he just becomes like a crazy carry. I think that'd be fine. I do think he snowballs his teammates, giving them like a cut and stuff. Like when he gets the kill.
Yeah. I think that there are a lot of ways to adjust the gold numbers to make it a little bit more balanced. To me, I think an issue with him, and I don't... So the idea that like he can't get any more health from items, I think is there because his ultimate is so good.
Yeah,
right. Where
sure.
it's like if he was a tank and could become a tank, that would be fucked.
Yeah, it'd be really bad.
That being said, I think that there's room to give him a little bit more there, and then take away some of the like obscene healing he gets from his passive, and I think that that's much more problematic in solo lanes than it is as a support, which they're doing a lot to keep him out of the solo lane. But at least personally, that was the thing that I hated about playing against Pyke in a solo lane the most, was that if I was playing like Orianna or Syndra or Zillion or like any of the characters that I play, like I fight them, I win the trade, I poke them out, they're at 25% health, they walk behind their turret and they come back at 75%.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool, I just traded 300 mana for 0 HP.
I mean, the main problem with Pyke is that every single change they've done to him has made him a lamer character, but it's been based around balancing him for like they're trying to make him not a mid laner. Like the reality is, there's no reason why his passive should state that like he heals this amount when there's no enemies or one enemy near, but if there's more than one enemy near, he heals even more. And it's like that's the only reason it's like that is because they want him to be bottom because he's super toxic. His Q should do AoE damage, but he can't do AoE damage because then he'd be OP mid. Like all these changes just are super lame and pushing him out of mid, which is fine. He shouldn't be a fucking mid laner, but like it's making the character overall lamer. Like his E not doing damage to minions, that's so fucking lame.
It is really lame.
Once again, like his E doesn't do damage to minions, his Q doesn't do AoE, his passive only works well when there's 2 or more people around. All these changes are just super lame changes because they don't know how to fix him for mid.
And the thing is, like, we're still seeing him like occasionally mid lane, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the crazy part.
What we're seeing a lot now, I want to try this with one of you guys soon, is we're seeing him like in the carry role bottom.
Oh.
So he can still be a like carry and he can have his support be like kind of the person who pushes for him sort of thing, but he still gets the use of his passive in like a carry position, which it's just like people are always going to find ways to abuse this character. You shouldn't have to like make his kit lamer to make him not good in a role, I think.
What if they gave him a unique item like Callista and he had to bind to like one ally and like only that ally could get the your cut and like you need to be near that ally to get your bonus regen? Like I think again that's like a very specific change to push him into the bot lane, but like I think that's one way also to go about like the gold sharing thing. It's that like every time you get a kill with your ultimate, like
they share
your designated ally like gets double assist gold or something, or like assist gold plus 50 or something,
as long as they're in like range and got an assist,
as long as they're in the range.
And I think you could like rebind it on like a whatever cooldown or whatever, but I think that's a really good way of doing it. I don't think that's because it means you can't just fucking share with everyone. Like roams are like less good a little bit and stuff like that, but that's not a bad way of doing it at all.
Yeah, where you just designate like your crewmate or your whatever.
Yeah, you
I
could
like that.
I think it's a really, really good way of doing it. They're called you could call it like the dead or whatever, like what you wanted to call it or whatever. It's like that. I think
just call it the crew. Part of the crew.
The crew.
Part of the crew. Part of the ship.
Hell yeah. I think that's fine. That's really cool. I don't think we need to change his kit though. His kit's fine, other than like the fact that it would be nice to revert some of the lame O changes they made. But
yeah, but I think that's another thing though, is like you can start giving some of those things back, but it's like it only applies when you're near your crewmate. Where like your E can deal damage to minions if you're within X units of your crewmate, right?
Yeah.
And again, all of this just to shoehorn him into support because that's where Riot wants him to be.
Yeah.
Well, that's where he
he's
should
not
be,
toxic.
probably.
Yeah. He's toxic otherwise. So that's fucked.
Yeah, cool. I think that's actually really cool. Let's stick with that. Cool. Next is Qiyana.
Fuck that. She gets a free hit on a skill shot. Take it out.
I'm fine with that.
Take it out.
I mean, that it's. I think it's fine to take out. Like, I think she is secretly the best mid laner in the game currently. I just think she probably is the hardest to play character currently at the highest level.
The thing is, like, how much of that is numbers versus actual like kit interaction?
I think a lot of it's kit, personally.
I mean, I think your kid's really strong, but I think her like quality of life, like I don't know, I think taking that away will make her such a like terrible champion to play, like to feel like playing, I guess. Like I think it's too uninteractive. I will agree there, but I think I don't know. It just feels so shitty to remove like smooth aspects of a kit like that, I guess.
I think it depends on one thing. I think it depends on if during testing they tested it with the fact that it wouldn't like auto do that, and they went, oh fuck, no one can hit this ability when you're flying through the air at Mach 20, so we're gonna make it tie to it. And if that's the case, then yeah, it should probably tie to it. But like if like it's not that hard to mechanically like hit your Q while you're flying through the air or whatever, then it probably should just be a skill thing. I think that's like a good way of like doing. I'm just not sure how it feels like without it. Obviously, we haven't played without it, like auto using your Q. That being said, I do think there should be a bit of a cooldown on using Q, grabbing a thing using Q. Like I understand that's her 1 damage ability, but like it is crazy that like how much damage that burst does. Like Q terror.
It does do a lot of damage. Yeah,
it's very, very strong. I do think her ultimate actually is the least toxic it's been since her release. It still is a crazy ability that does probably too much damage, but I don't think that's problematic on her right now. If you guys watch the number 1 Qiyana player in the world play, she abuses items like Prowler's Claw more than any other character in the game, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I think we're probably going to see Manamune get gutted, I would say.
Yeah, I think so. I do think, again, it's because these so Prowler's Claw did not exist like the last time Qiyana was popular.
Yeah.
But she was popular before and then saw some nerfs and then was very rarely played.
Yeah.
And I just feel like for Qiyana, it's probably always going to be a numbers thing.
I don't know if it is currently with the itemization. Like the amount. So the problem is she has strengths in like a ton of different ways, which is cool because the character can be very unique. Like in bad lanes, like there's a video of this mid Qiyana player playing versus Faker, and Faker's on Tristana. You'd assume a Qiyana would get fucking destroyed by a Tristana, and she does like get pushed in early, but all she does is abuse grass element the entire time. She's like grass elements like to get into like last hit minions, grabs another grass element to like get in and hit minions. It's like she can be stealth in lane like so often with like Terra shaped grass element, I think.
So maybe you would put a cooldown on very similarly to Talon. You could put a cooldown on specific parts of the map.
I think you could put a cooldown on like double grabbing the same element.
Or yeah, like I think I was gonna say that as one thing of like grabbing the same element twice in a row maybe gives extra cooldown on it, or even if it was like just for bushes, because I think that's the most toxic one.
Mm-hmm. The other ones aren't as bad, but
yeah, where it's just like make it similar to Talon, where it's like, okay, if you've already grabbed this bush in like the last 15 seconds, like that bush is on cooldown.
Yeah, I think that would be fine.
I'm fine honestly with like the ocean and the mountain, or like the water and earth, or whatever they're called, river and terrain.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But like we were playing with Trevor, and he just went like brush,
yeah,
and he lived at 200 HP against like 4 people for like 15 seconds, then walked away.
Yeah, I mean,
like it's wild that you can just sit in invisibility that long.
I mean, yeah, because your Terra shape 7-second cooldown, and your grass lasts for 3 seconds. So you can go grass, Terra shape, grab grass. As soon as your grass ends, you can throw grass, and by the time that grass is done, you get to grab Terra shape again to wait, but no. You have to wait, I guess, a couple seconds. But either way, it's like you can grab grass 3 times in a row pretty easily without taking damage. On the 4th time, yeah, you have to like wait a cooldown. But like it's kind of crazy how like you can do that, and especially just like using just basic jukes alongside that. I think grass, being able to grab it like multiple times in a row, is very toxic for the game.
Yeah, I guess the argument then is like she's not doing damage that entire time, right? So she's
but the fact that an assassin can like just live in a fight for like 14 seconds is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And it's not like she doesn't have damage either, because like she can still like after that, like if you have to play smart, because if she doesn't go grass one of those times and goes like rock or whatever, and she just can burst you with like rock into ult like really, really easily. I don't know. I just think that like putting a cooldown on double grabbing elements, it would be fine. Or like make them like stale moves like in like Smash and stuff. Like using 2 bush in a row would make your second bush like weaker. Or using 2 river in a row would make your second river weaker or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's another way to do it, is to say, where it's like, hey, if you do brush into brush, the 3.5 seconds of it on the ground drops to like 1 second or 1
or something like 2 seconds even would be fine. It's just like I think that's fine. But like I guess let's talk about like what we can actually change better, because I feel like just talking about how we nerf her is like not as much fun, I guess. Because I honestly don't think there's much you can do about her, because like once again her QW literally just are abilities that you can't change, like at all, I think.
Yeah.
Unless you wanted to give her another element, which I think is above her pay grade.
I think so as well. I don't know. Like I think Qiyana's a really well designed character. I personally think it's just going to be a numbers thing, like with her, I suppose.
Yeah.
I think I would like to see them take away the explosion along terrain on her ultimate. I think it's good, or at the very least, give it a capped range that is significantly smaller. Like, hit somebody into the terrain, have that piece of terrain explode, sure, but have it cycle all the way around the Baron pit and like hit somebody who's back there warding. That I hate.
I think the quick and easy fix for that is just have it do reduced damage the further it travels.
Yeah, and also probably doesn't need to gain sight would be the other thing.
Does it gain sight?
Yeah, it gains sight all the way around.
Oh, then yeah, probably not.
Yeah, I think it shouldn't grant vision, and I think it should diminish to probably like 25% damage relatively quickly.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm fine if it's like, cool, you hit somebody against like a wall, and it's somebody else just like 200 units away on that same wall, where it's like, if I hit somebody on one end of an Anivia W, and there's somebody on the other end of it, sure. But it's the shit where you get hit by a Qiyana ult and you didn't like even know that Qiyana was in this quadrant of the map.
Yeah.
Because it's like she was fighting in the river and it just went all the way down through the dragon pit into your bot Tribrush, and you're like, oh, I didn't realize Qiyana was dueling at Raptors.
Yeah, I don't think it like ever really happened. I do think giving vision is like toxic. I also don't. I think the fall off damage would be an absolute fine way of doing it, though.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much we can change about her kit, though. Even though we talked about her for so long, is just because it's all designed so well to flow together that like at most we could change how her E or passive works, but I don't know if like that's even interesting enough to like really have a conversation.
Other than that, you basically have to scrap the whole character and start over.
Yeah, or change elements and shit like that, which I just don't think, unless we had something like that we've thought about for a while, is not like good enough to talk about. So. I think it's good. Cool. Do we want to talk about the next character, who is Quinn? Last character, actually.
Quinn could probably get her own like episode. To be honest, I think this character is one of the more unhealthy characters in the game. Honestly, you only pick her into melee top laners, and that is the only role she has.
Well, Kennedy and I were watching Salty Tebow today, and we saw her pick bottom a couple times.
And how many times did they win?
I think both games.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, Iron 4 is how you determine what's good in the game, though.
Yeah.
I do agree. I think actually we saw her play top as well, and she was probably the worst player I've ever seen play League of Legends as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that character is very healthy for the game, and probably shouldn't exist. To
Thoughts
be honest.
Here's my rework idea. She's Valor. It's not Quinn anymore. It's Valor. We're reworking her into a full bird character.
Hell yeah.
So she's always like pretty quick sort of thing, but like super, super squishy.
Okay.
So you remember
that.
like old Valor, where like you had like your moves were like the dash in sort of thing. You had, like, the AoE Q ability. Your ult can still be like the big arrow thing. I think that's actually like fine. Even as Valor, I think it'd be cool if we had a fucking just bird character. Like Quinn doesn't provide enough to the game to make her interesting. I think that if we could make let's talk about how we'd make a bird character. I think that's fine.
Just scrap Quinn and make it Valor.
Yeah, so it's gonna be like regular movement speed, but when you're out of combat, you're like really, really fast. You're like a fucking bird soaring around.
Huh.
Okay, let's start with that. Okay, so we're just talking about a bird character because I think we all know that Quinn is boring, and I don't think it's interesting enough unless we wanted to talk about a human like bird hybrid, make her a transform character like she used to be. But we either go full bird or we go transform. What do you guys want?
I think full, probably transform.
Really? Oh,
I mean, we could talk about her full bird, but transform is
full bird.
Probably better.
It's probably better for the game, I think. If it's,
yeah.
But I think we can add like stronger abilities that are more fun to talk about as full bird, because then you don't have to balance her around having like 6 abilities, right? Would be the idea. So I'm gonna start pitching my full bird thing. Okay.
So before you do, I'm just
ahead.
trying to like as another archetype, I could see her operating a lot more similar to Kindred, where like she's got a W where it's like, okay, here's Quinn, like here's Valor, and like here's the Valor zone, where like, you know, I think that's probably, if we're gonna see anything happen to Quinn, where they likely will go. But tell me about full bird Valor champ.
Okay, so full bird Valor. Basic passive is that like when she's out of combat, she moves really fast. Like it's a very basic passive. Like she has like pretty regular movement, so maybe slightly above average normally.
It's called Hollow Bones, and she takes 5% increased damages from all sources, but her base move speed is like 450.
Yeah, so like when she's out of combat, she has like 450 like base, whatever. Like let's just say that. Her ultimate, we're gonna start there. It allows her to go over walls for like a 15-second duration. She like, it's like a soaring high. Like people can still hit her and can knock her out of it, sort of thing. But she can just fly over walls with this fucking speed, and it like automatically puts her out of combat, so she can immediately get the speed boost. So it's kind of like she's gonna be like a roaming character, but she's gonna be, I guess, assassin E. So her E is gonna be her dash move, where she like dashes in to like fucking fight people. Her Q is gonna be like a 3-hit like fucking claw move, and then her W. I don't know. I honestly think I like her W still having like the utility of like the AoE like kind of like vision thing.
I like it too.
All she is she's a really fast moving like assassin character who kind of like dives in and like bursts people. But she's like squishy as fuck is my idea.
Oh, I mean, so
she's melee as
very
well, so
similar,
like,
very similar to just bird form Valor, right?
yeah, I mean, like once again, like the only difference is that I'm putting her power budget from originally being a transform character into the fact that her ultimate is a ability that lets her just fly around the map over walls and shit.
Yeah.
I've got a different route that I'm gonna pitch.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I think one of the ways you could go about making Quinn and Valor, or just Quinn, a better character for the game and not feeling as toxic is to design her more as a support.
Okay.
So I'm thinking if you design her more as a support, you can make part of like her passive, or like I think that a lot of her kit currently would work very well if she was a support and just didn't have the damage numbers to be able to 100 to 0 somebody with that same combo. Like, okay, cool, I can blind an 80 carry. I can get vision by sending, like, Valor to scout. I think maybe instead of making the mark do a bunch of damage, it could be like, okay, if this target is marked, then you just get vision on them for, like, 3 seconds or something, where it's like, okay, if you land an ability, or if you land maybe, like, 3 autos on the same target, they become marked for 3 seconds, and like Valor can see them.
Yeah.
And then I think you can really keep it very similar, where the Q is like, okay, targeted skill shot does the nearsightedness. I think the E could use a small rework, but the idea of like dashing in and vaulting off a character, I think is pretty cool. I just think they could probably work it out differently. And then I think also still like the ultimate, the idea of like, hey, you can move really fast and get somewhere because your like bird comes to pick you up. But if you're a support that doesn't do like omega damage, it's not nearly as like frustrating. It's just like a Janna roaming with her stupid movement speed.
Yeah.
And I think that could also like make a lot of sense, because like the idea of a hunter plus like a bird combo, right, is like that teamwork. And it's like, okay, cool, Valor is supporting me and I am supporting you.
Yeah.
And there's like that joint effort together. I think that would be a much less toxic way to have Quinn in the game. as opposed to the lol, you picked a melee character. I'm gonna sit here and auto attack you 100 times.
What do you, Nick? I'm not sure if you have anything before I want to go on this tangent that's gonna lead nowhere. But I have an idea that is more Dota than Heroes of the Storm than League.
Okay.
It's Cho'Gall, okay?
One of
Do you
you's
think this
playing
works
Valor,
in-
one of you's playing...
Yeah, but Valor's leashed in the fact that they can only go a certain distance away from Quinn. But they both control together. You have to lock them in together. They do have to be locked together. But they're kind of leashed together in a way, unless Quinn dies. If Quinn dies, Valor can fucking roam around or whatever.
So it'd be almost like a duo pick.
Yeah,
like
so
Xayah Rakan, but you have to pick them together.
Yeah, you pretty well have to play them bottom, I think, because I don't think you should. Maybe you could have them separate, but I really like the idea of Valor being able to go 5,000 range away from Quinn or something like that, so she can scout really fast as a bird thing, and is a melee character, so she can't fucking abuse her support or whatever, her support powers, but she can kind of roam around, get vision, drop wards and shit, is super mobile, and is more utility support in the way of getting intel than anything else.
I could see it. I could also see it being very, very similar to Xayah Rakan, where it's they've split it into two characters, and it's just way better if you have them together.
Yeah, that'd be probably fine.
I think it would probably have to be that they're needing you need to pick them together.
Yeah,
and I don't know if Riot would ever okay that.
Yeah, I really like your idea of making them more of a support character, because it makes the roaming less annoying, and I think having this utility based in the form of vision and just map presence and stuff like that type support is a really interesting archetype that hasn't been fully utilized.
Yeah, I think so much of her kit, it's toxic as fuck to deal with in the top lane, but if you put it on a support, it suddenly becomes much more okay. I think she fits that similar archetype Samira, right? If Samira wasn't an AD carry, people would have a lot less issues with her.
Yeah.
And I think that could be said about a lot of characters, but if Quinn's kit was on a support, I don't think anyone would really have an issue with her. But it's so much more frustrating to get blinded 3 auto attacks, bounced off 3 auto attacks in a solo lane. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you do that in a duo lane, it's cool. Well, you jumped in and on my support and blinded them, and my AD carry just headshot you with Caitlyn and did 400 damage.
Yeah.
So I mean, she has historic. I want to take this into another direction. I don't necessarily dislike the support angle, but I dislike the idea of turning a character who was once an AD carry turned into a top lane ranged assassin into a support. Mm-hmm. She's historically been played as an anti-AD carry, yeah. Right? Her purpose has always been, I'm going to find the enemy AD carry, I'm going to one-hit him, and then I'm probably going to die. But at least then, I've eliminated the highest threat person while being the highest threat person myself. Is there anything we can do? Because I think the only problematic ability that is keeping her truly out of the bottom lane is her ultimate, and not having a combat-related ultimate specifically.
I mean, I have an idea if you want to go that route, and I think that it would actually be kind of dope.
Well, yeah, throw it out. Because my thought process was
give her the Corki treatment. She goes back to lane to meet up with Valor, and she gets dropped in.
So my thought process, was something like that, where
it's the passive.
There's a character in Heroes of the Storm who is riding a griffin, and instead of having a mount, every 45 seconds he can just fly anywhere on the map. But it tells the enemies, it tells the enemy team, oh, this hero is flying. So that's what I was sort of initially thinking is okay, every 3 minutes, Quinn can fly to any point in the map. It'll tell the enemy team that Quinn is flying, but it won't tell them where.
Yeah, I think you'd probably want to do it very similar to Quirky's package, where it's every 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 4 minutes, you are available to get picked up by Valor at base. There's a big old screech across the map. Everybody knows you're in the air. And then you can give her a real ultimate that actually does damage.
Yeah, and I feel at that point, she would be... It is always going to be hard to keep Quinn, this current iteration of Quinn, out of the top lane, I think. Just because of how effective it's been proven to be. And adding a real ultimate to that is not going to make it easier to move out of that. But I think it's the only way to also bring her into the bottom lane, I guess.
Yeah. I think that's fine. It's cool.
Can she have a passive where she takes increased damage from melee characters? Is that something that's allowed to exist in League?
If a character is too strong into
yeah,
then Riot would do it. Yeah, they'd shoehorn that in for sure.
What if she had a passive where she gained like damage based on how far away she was from her target?
She was like a big dartboard.
What? What?
What? Explain, Aiden.
Like, never mind.
No. Go ahead.
Oh wait, no. I think I understand what he was getting at.
I
where
don't.
Her unit is the dartboard.
Yeah.
So the closer you are to her, the closer you are to the bullseye.
Yeah. So you do more damage
okay,
because
I
you're more
see.
accurate. Yeah.
I see.
Her name's Darty, and she.
Darty.
How the fuck does your brain work?
I don't know. That would fit lore-wise, though.
But I think Nick, if you wanted to make her an AD carry and give her an actual combat ultimate, yeah, I think moving the like big mobility, get picked up by Valor thing to her passive, and yeah, you could get it on a timer, and I guess it wouldn't necessarily have to be the go to base, but yeah, like every 2 minutes or so, like you can spend a second and a half channeling to get picked up, and then like there's a big shriek as Valor swoops down, picks her up. And like that's the key to everyone to know. She's flying, like you can make it really strong, give her a ton of movement speed, you can let her go over terrain, like there's a lot you can put on it if it's then gated behind like a 3-4 minute cooldown.
Yeah.
Like
That's what I was thinking, is like we could make this really strong and keep the identity of the character, but also like make an attempt to move her from the top lane.
I could see then, honestly, you could give her like almost a non-ultimate where it's like a small dash with a steroid or something.
Yeah.
I like, because I'm just trying to think what you could give her as like a big ultimate, and the only thing I can think is something along the lines of like a mark a target and then the bird comes out, which I think you could make it very similar to Fizz ult, where like she shoots out fucking like a Valor tree, and if it hits you it sticks, and then Valor just swoops down from the sky for like 1,000 damage.
That's fucking funny.
I think that it would have to either be that or like a non-ultimate, like, hey, you get 3 charges of like a Gale Force level dash, or like 2 charges, and it's a pretty low actual thing, kind of like how Corki's ultimate is a non-ultimate ultimate.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's got then the package to compensate and just really good numbers elsewhere. Like, that is, I think, a way you could go about it. But the idea of, like, shooting somebody with, like, a fucking bait arrow and then Valor swooping down for a ton of damage is hilarious.
That is pretty funny.
What if it CC'd them? Valor just, like, swoops down with these massive claws. Pins everyone against the wall. Valor is carrying Meganar.
Yo! Okay. Scrap all of that. What if her
Valor picks you up off the map and you're gone from the map for 10 seconds?
No. It's like, all right, so you know those bird shows where like they'll fucking fly the bird out to a fucking audience member to get like $2 or whatever, like just to show oh, I can retrieve stuff. What if she just shopped through Valor, like every
like
once
a
in a while?
courier?
Yeah, she has a courier.
I mean, you could make that part of the passive where it's like every 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 4 minutes, right? Where it's like you can, not only do you get to summon it, but when you summon it, you can have it bring you an item as well.
That's so funny.
Right, where like you could make it like a 4 minute thing, like a 4 minute cooldown and like a 3 second channel. And it's like, okay, channel Valor, like he'll fly to you, pick you up, and bring you any items that you've like.
Yeah.
And buy
or
you
like
dinner.
one item. I think it'd have to be one item.
Yeah, one item for sure.
Right, so like you could get a component, or you could get like your upgrade or whatever, but I don't know, man. I kind of really like the idea of just Valor flying out of the sky and just picking somebody up.
Yeah.
What if it picked him up, stunned him for like 1 second, and then dropped him like 300 units away?
That'd be pretty cool. I don't think Valor is that strong, but
Valor can pick Quinn up.
Quinn's not Cho'Gath.
Yeah, I don't care. We can make Valor badass.
That's true.
We can. No one said we couldn't.
We can make Valor this fucking massive, like, rock.
What if she turns into a big bird and then birds come out of her to attack other people?
Copyrighted.
Yeah.
Because I said the words big bird.
Yeah, if you use
You can't
that,
say that. No, we have to.
okay.
We can't monetize this ZED Talks
Yeah,
anymore.
it's crazy.
Thanks.
He's
What if the
ruined it.
birds
That's
like
fucked up.
healed a little bit, and it costs mana to stay in this form?
Ooh. And what if like your enemies could never move while you were doing that?
That'd be pretty sick.
That's Quinn. We fixed her.
Yeah, cool.
Turn
That is
Quinn
the-
into female Swain.
Yeah. I like that idea. That's kind of funny.
Sweet.
Cool. So that is the end of this episode of ZED Talks. If you guys want to see the next episode, it will be live on our Patreon sometime next month. If you're listening to this on YouTube, next episode's already live, so go watch it. Because you guys are a month behind. You can sub on our Patreon for only $1 a month. Thank you guys so much for listening. Next week we will be next month we will be talking about what comes after Q characters. The R characters? Is R the letter after Q?
Yes.
The
Yes,
R
it is.
Characters. There's like 8 of them. So
Welcome to Leaguecast, where we teach Aiden the alphabet.
yeah, we'll do that next week. See you guys later. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.